Again, my hair is a mess. My skin is a mess. The place that I thought I would be recording my next Lotus Talk is not the place that I'm at right now. It seems all out of line and all out of order. But again, it is in these moments that the stories come to me, and I have to be obedient and tell the story. So, with the wind in my hair and the wind at my back and the lake in front of me, I tell my next Lotus story. I was drained today. I was physically drained today. There was something that I needed to do for someone extremely important in my life, my grandmother. I needed to take her to the doctor. And what felt like it was going to be an hour appointment really turned into about a 4-hour excursion. Now, anyone who knows me knows that my grandmother is very important to me. I consider her to be my best friend. And she is truly the example of how I would like to live my life. And I've often contemplated why that is. My grandmother's 90 years of age. She's the spunkiest person I know. And yet, she's the least judgmental person I know. So I always feel safe and I always feel secure when I'm with my grandmother. So while this, visit took longer than we anticipated and everything was wonderful in the end, I felt a little drained when I got home because there were some decisions that I needed to make. Some decisions around alignment with my purpose, alignment with the Lotus Talks, alignment with Lotus Flowers. Where do we want this nonprofit to go? Who do we want to impact? How are we going to make the right strategic decisions to have the type of impact that I believe these organizations and these concepts will have? So I decided that I needed to be by water, right? And I typically walk around a local community park, but that just didn't seem to work well with my soul. So I was certain that I needed to go to a local municipal park near my home. As I was driving, I was like, wow, again, I'm just like the Starbucks situation. Why am I being directed to this park? As I get through the park gates, I see the name of the park. Mental note, write that down. I see the porta potties, pot of gold. I need to write that down. Why is that sticking in my head? So when I get to the park, I see a huge gate or fence around the periphery of the park. And I wonder, because this is not normal, I wonder why is there a fence or a gate around the periphery of the park. I drove around to try to find the first entrance to the boardwalk, because there's a boardwalk that surrounds the, I'll say, circumference or the periphery of the lake. And it was like I was in a maze. The first access point that I wanted to go to, and I could see clearly the pavilion that I wanted to get to, I just couldn't park in front of it. I had to turn back around and go to the far edge of what I'll say the lake or the entrance. And when I got to the boat ramp, the gate seemed to kind of wrap around to the boardwalk. But I noticed that I could walk around the gate and I could walk along the boardwalk as I had planned that I would do. As I'm walking down the boardwalk in what I'll say a contemplative kind of mood, I think about the gate, I think about the fence, and I kind of wonder, like, why is there a barrier there? Why wasn't it easy for me to be able to access the boardwalk? As a matter of fact, I'm slightly annoyed, but I'm still in a positive mood. I can overhear the conversations of children playing, of parents in conversations on their cell phone. I walked finally to the edge of the pavilion. I heard a man giving a dissertation on homeowners, being a homeowner, and the and his philosophical approach to home ownership. That's what I'll say. But I felt that in that moment, the conversation that I was having was that they were having was for some reason something I needed to hear. But when I got closer to them, I could not cross over the fence that ran across now the boardwalk to get to the pavilion that they sat in. Again, my first thought was, if I look at this gate that crosses over the boardwalk, I could literally, and I'm embarrassed to say this, swing my body over the lake and be able to move around the gate to get onto the other side of the boardwalk. First of all, you have to understand this is highly dangerous, probably highly inappropriate, and probably not the best judgment. So common sense, good sense overtakes me, and I say, April, just turn around. Just turn around and go back the direction that you came, because it's clearly not intended for you to get to this pavilion that you have anticipated that you want to go to. As I'm walking back, a park ranger approaches me. Ma'am, get off the boardwalk. The boardwalk is broken. The boardwalk is broken. I've probably walked 300 feet on this boardwalk. But it becomes pretty apparent that he's very serious that I need to get off the boardwalk. So I walked back to the edge of where I'd entered the fence or across the gate, and I see across the boat ramp that there is a sign. And that sign says, "Caution, boardwalk is closed." And in my normal, way, my first thought is, I need to, because he's driven on. I need to stop the park ranger, and I need to let him know that maybe you should put a sign on this side of the boat ramp, because I could just walk around the fence. The park ranger looks at me and he says, "Ma'am, if people wouldn't move the barrier or the gate, you would not be able to walk on this edge of the boardwalk. However, people continue to push the fence in such a way that it allows an opening. We don't need another sign on the gate. We need people to keep the gate closed, to respect the barrier in place." At that point I thought, well, let me just sit down at this really comfortable bench that faces the lake. Now, when I first contemplated coming to this area, there was a father and his daughter pleasantly enjoying this bench. They moved as I moved closer to the boardwalk. Once the park ranger had spoken to me, the bench was available for me to sit down. As I sat down with my Bible and my journal to begin to think about why I had come to this park in the first place, it all hit me. And it hit me spiritually. See, oftentimes as humans, we want something. I wanted to walk on the boardwalk, and I wanted to get to a certain pavilion. The signs were all around me, whether they were written, whether they were visual, or whether they were physical. The signs suggested that the boardwalk was closed. The position that I had wanted to be in was closed, but not only was it closed, it was dangerous. As I sat here and I began to journal, the download came. I had an initial instinct that something was wrong. I had gotten to the end of the road on the boardwalk that I could take, and I had contemplated a very dangerous act. The act of crossing over the body of water to swing across the fence in order to get to the other side of the boardwalk. I had literally contemplated putting myself in danger in order to get what I wanted. could have argued with the park ranger about why what he was telling me was unfair and why the decision that I had made was a good decision, when in fact, the truth was I had made a foolish decision. I had walked in a place that I was not prepared to walk, and then quite frankly, that was a danger to me. When I gave in to the awareness, I was sitting here on this bench. I believe the bench was where I was supposed to sit all along. You see, the bench that had been occupied was now free. The bench that faces the same body of water that I wanted to be near, the fence that sits right in front of the bench, are all in perfect alignment. It was here in this space, in this time, that I was able to write down and to understand the experience that I had just had. This was the bench of alignment. There will be times in our life when we want something. We want to be somewhere. We want to be something. We want to be in relation with other people. And there will be danger and caution signs. The lesson is to slow down. Go with your gut instinct. Listen to the guides, the rangers, who are there to protect you. Because if you don't, you put yourself in danger. And oftentimes, you're not in the wrong place. You're in the wrong position. So again, this platform, Lotus Talks, is about storytelling. I envision these stories being told on stages, with defined audiences and speakers, and being able to share these stories on this global platform. Something keeps saying that there's value in the authenticity of telling the story in the moment. My hair is not perfect. I do not have makeup on, but I am sharing my truth today with you. I hope that you will forgive the lack of perfectness. The hair that I never wear like this. The environment that is not pristine. But this is my time and my space and my opportunity today to share a story with you. I hope that this story enlightens you. I hope that it encourages you. I hope that it stimulates you to think about what you want and whether or not you're in the right position to get it.